Hey, what's up everybody? This is Mike. Welcome back to another video and Happy New Year everyone. I decided to start off the new year with a video which I wanted to make ever since I got my FPV drone, and that is to fly my Insta360 One X on top of my drone. It's something that I was really debating whether I should do or not, because I really didn't know how the drone is going to carry that camera, how the footage is going to turn out, but eventually I decided it's time to just try it out and see what type of footage I can get with the Insta360 One X. And I have to say, I'm really pleased with the results. So you've already seen the footage, you've already seen everything that I captured with the Insta360 One X, but I wanted to give you guys more information and more feedback on things that I noticed after flying my FPV drone with the One X on top of it, because if you want to try it out yourself, there are a few things you need to know. So first things first, let me show you how I mounted the camera on top of my drone. You already saw some shots in the intro, but this is how it looks. And this is basically just a regular GoPro sticky mount, which I used to put the camera on. And I didn't stick it to the frame because there is no point of sticking it. It's not going to stick anyway. So I just used two different zip ties. One of them is very strong, very thick, and it's going to keep everything nice and tight. And the other one is just for more peace of mind for myself, just to know that the camera mount is not going to go anywhere. And it's quite nicely tightened to the frame. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not moving around. So it's definitely very secured. Of course, the camera itself is very exposed, so you have to be careful not to crash because yeah, you will probably break the lens of the Insta360 One X. But everything is nice, tight, secured, and good to go. Now, the next thing you need to do is to frame your shot properly, and to do that, I do not recommend you to keep the camera like this. So I would advise you to move it like this. So adjusting the camera in that position, that angle, is going to give you that front perspective of the drone, and it looks like somebody else is flying right in front of you, shooting the drone itself. So this is the perfect angle I would recommend you to use. Or if you want, you can even lower it down to something like this, but this gets too dangerous because don't forget, this camera here also gives you the ability to see what you're where you're flying, so you need to have more space here. If you keep it like this, you're not going to see anything from the camera itself. So something like this would be ideal. And even with this angle, you're going to see a little bit of the camera itself from this camera, but it's fine. It's okay to fly like this. The best thing about putting a 360 camera on top of your FPV drone is the unique angles and framing possibilities that you can achieve from the Insta360 One X. There's so many different ways you can turn the camera and different angles you can choose, and your footage is going to be quite unique, I would say. And it's definitely not something that you can record every day. Your own drone being filmed from the front while it's flying. It looks very interesting, at least to me. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of those shots. And in my opinion, the best thing about mounting your One X on your drone is the stabilization. The flow state stabilization that the One X is using is simply the best in the world, in my opinion, when it comes to electronic stabilizations. And it's much better than Rocksteady, better than Hyper Smooth, and it's just super smooth. You can do so much with it, and any type of shot will be buttery smooth because of that electronic stabilization. So I'm really pleased with what we have on board of the One X. So when you put it on your drone, you will know that it's going to give you smooth, nice results. Of course, not everything is perfect about flying with your Insta360 One X on top of your drone, and there are a couple of things which I don't like. And the first thing is that it shifts the weight center to the front of the drone, so it's going to tip forward when you fly, so you need to readjust with the sticks. And if you can put the battery on the back of the drone and put it as much to the back as you can, just so you can compensate a little bit more. So keep that in mind. When you take off, the drone is initially going to tip forward, so you need to compensate a little bit. But in many situations, you will not going to notice a drastic difference in the way the drone is flying. You just need to be aware of that weight that you have more in the front. So if something happens, you can just simply tilt the front of the drone a bit higher and it's going to be fine. And the other thing which I don't like about flying with the One X on top of my drone is the fact that it uses very high shutter speeds to compensate for the huge amount of light that is coming through the sensor. And the high amount of shutter speed means that the motion of the propellers is not very natural. So if you take a look at how the propellers are moving in the footage itself, they don't look very smooth and natural because of that high shutter speed, and that's something that I don't like in my footage. So that's why I use filters on all of my cameras besides this one. But I guess that's a little trade-off that you have to do in order to get this unique type of footage. So I can live with that, but that's the only real negative thing I have to say about filming with the One X on top of my drone. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share my impressions and how I mounted the camera, how I felt about flying with the camera on top of my drone. And one thing I have to say is that I really love this camera. It's just so unique, so different from everything else I own that yeah, I'm just so happy that I have this camera. But let me know if you enjoyed that footage, if you're willing to do those same shots with your own camera. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below and I'll be sure to respond. Thank you so much for watching today's video. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao!